top stories tonight. Federal government to begin distribution of grains amid economic hardship. NEMA tightens security around warehouses nationwide after Abuja looting. Adamawa government confirms Lassa fever outbreak. U.S. slams sanctions on Zimbabwe's president, other officials. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Felicity Ezewike. Let's begin by telling you that the funeral rites for the late Group Managing Director and CEO of Access Bank PLC, Herbert Wigwe, began on Monday in Lagos. The funeral kicked off at the Eco Hotel in Victoria Island with a ceremony tagged Celebrating Professional Excellence. He, alongside his wife and son, died in a helicopter crash on February 9, 2024 in the United States on his way to attend the Super Bowl 58 championship in Las Vegas. Friends, family, former colleagues and other dignitaries paid emotional tributes to the late banker.
The people and government of Lagos State, we will cherish what he stood for, what he believed in. And Lagos, I repeat, Lagos will not forget Herbert Wigwe. We will live to support the family, to support Tuche, David, Hannah, and the great fearless Ukachi to become someone that your mom, Chizoba, will be happy with, that your brother, Chizi, will be happy with, and that indeed all of us will live the fearless story, the legacy of Herbert Wigwe. Thank you very much.
Herbert still worried about whether he would have sufficient time to realize his ultimate dream, a dream we shared for a transformed Africa. February 9th, 2024, the day Herbert, Chizoba, Chizi, and Bimbo died, along with two pilots, was a terrible and tragic day for us all. But believe you me, ladies and gentlemen, on that day, in a way that happens to very, very, very few human beings in history.
His legacy in philanthropy will always never be forgotten. I choose to remember his long friendship, undivided loyalty, and his zest for life among numerous other attributes. He was a pillar of strength and support for me, my family, and our businesses. He was not afraid to go out on a limb to help me untie the several knots that actually came up as our organization grew and flourished. He was proud to be part of my success story, and I'm proud to name him my devoted friend, mentee, and brother.
The tragic death of the former Access Holding CEO, Herbert Wigwe, along with his wife and son, is still fresh on the minds of many. Wigwe was among 6 people who lost their lives in a helicopter crash in California, United States on February 9. In this next report, News Center's Bernard Akede chronicles the life and times of the banker and businessman.
Herbert Wigwe, who tragically passed away in February 2024, carved his name into Nigerian history as a transformative figure in the banking sector. He rose from his beginnings in Isiokpo to become the Group Managing Director and CEO of Access Bank, one of the country's leading financial institutions. Born in 1966, Wigwe began his professional journey at Cobbers & Lybrand and Guaranteed Trust Bank. After over a decade at Guaranteed Trust Bank, Herbert and his business partner, Aigboje Aig Imohwede, acquired Access Bank, which was a rather small commercial bank as at the time. Under their leadership, the bank saw dramatic improvements from being ranked 65th of the 89 commercial banks in the country at the time to being among the top 5 financial institutions in the country today.
when you see the evolving landscape, a couple of things are extremely important. The first is, how is that bank managing risk? In Nigeria's case, it is even more topical, all right? But some of us have been through all of this several times before. Now, if you look at our numbers, there are certain factors or certain prudential ratios that are extremely important. So what is your cost of risk? We are showing very strong cost of risk numbers. What is your non-performing loan ratio? We're showing very strong non-performing loan ratio. Now, one that is extremely important is capital adequacy, because banking is all about risk management and your capacity, not just to manage risk, but to absorb it.
Under his watch, Access Bank gained global status, having subsidiaries in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria, Rwanda, the Gambia, Guinea, Cameroon, Sierra Leone, Mozambique, Botswana, South Africa, Zambia, France, and the United Kingdom. Herbert was passionate about youth empowerment and wanted to create a better future for the Nigerian youth. Shortly before his passing, Herbert embarked on a groundbreaking project in his hometown in Rivers State, the establishment of the Wigwe University. The higher institution was launched with a determination to nurture and build innovative and fearless leaders with the capacity to ignite the potentials of Nigeria and Africa. Herbert's vision was for Wigwe University to become a top contender in delivering world-class education within and beyond the continent, marking a monumental milestone in the pursuit of academic excellence. The university was to officially commence operations in September 2024.
For everybody where they here, this now a project. We're going to protect them with anything we want to get. No university will go there like this. No be for Nigeria, for Africa. On my life, on my children, nothing will compare to this university.
On 9th February in California, Herbert Onyewumbu Wigwe, alongside his wife and son, all lost their lives in a tragic helicopter crash that killed all 6 people on board. He will be remembered for many things, but most especially for being a Nigerian who always sought to make a difference in the country and for the country. In Lagos for News Central, I'm Bernard Akide.
What a remarkable man. Many thanks, Bernard. We're going on a short break now. Tonight continues right after. Do stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. The federal government will begin the distribution of grains nationwide to cushion the impact of the hardship in Nigeria. Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, disclosed this on Monday. He stated that the distribution of 42,000 metric tons of grains, as approved by the president, will be shared across the 36 states of the federation this week. The minister, who hails the resilience of the Nigerian people, urged them to back President Bola Tinubu's government in its quest to address the challenges facing the country. Information from Nigeria's federal capital over the recent warehouse looting incidents by residents of Ogwagwa area of Abuja has revealed that the looted warehouse belongs to the Ministry of Agriculture and had stored food grains reserved for distribution to farmers. Confirmed information revealed that several arrests have been made by the FCT Police Command in connection with the incidents. Marvelous Obomanu reports.
Abandoned footwears, debris and grains left behind by the burglars in a hurry to flee the scene of the incidents after carting away bags of grains, notably maize. The warehouse, alleged to be owned by the Minister of Agriculture, had thousands of bags stored to be distributed to the area councils as part of palliatives expected to cushion the effects of the removal of petrol subsidy.
It was around 7:35 when I came to resume work. 3 trucks passed down over there. They were floating one. Suddenly, just about 5 minutes when I exchanged words with my boss, who happened to be the storekeeper and the next to him as a secretary. So we had a gunshot elsewhere from this Tasha 2 with more than 100 people rushing, talking about hunger is in town, hunger is in town. Then, before you know, with sharp knife, with a different weapon, they rush, they pull off the gate. There's nothing we can do.
There is nothing that is left here, including machineries that are used for processing of these grains. And as we've heard, people around the youth of the environment or the community are suspect to this incident.
While many have given excuses for the looters in the light of the hardship being experienced in the country, some think the action should be condemned. This is not the first time this particular warehouse is being looted. The first one happened in 2019, and this is the second time it is happening. Residents in this community are expressing worry that the food items meant for the whole community to benefit from, a few individuals have come to steal it.
Honestly, I'm not happy this rubbish people do, because no matter be in Isema according to the angry, to stop these people, no matter be we can carry food, don't spoil property governments.
This food is for them. Nobody is going to take it away from them, but it has to be done in an according manner. But the way this thing happened actually is beyond hunger.
Earlier, the Minister of State for FCT was at the scene for inspection as her visit revealed the devastation done to the warehouse, with school children left to salvage what is of value for their personal use. In Abuja for News Central, Marvelous Obomman.
Nigeria's emergency agency says it has tightened security at its warehouses nationwide as a precaution following the looting of food warehouses in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, on Sunday by suspected hoodlums. The raid on the outskirts of Abuja marks the latest social unrest over soaring prices and the country's fraying economy after thousands of demonstrators joined labor union protests last week. Several incidents of attacks and looting of warehouses and food trucks have been reported in many cities against the backdrop of economic hardship. Minister of State for the FCT, Maria Mahmood, described it as a crime beyond hunger. Joining us to further discuss this is Kenneth Ikenwa, a business and social policy analyst. Thank you very much for giving us your time on the news. What do you make of this recurring event of attacks on food trucks and looting of warehouses in some parts of the country?
Thank you for having me on. Good evening. I must say that we are living in very disinteresting times in our country. And the events in the last couple of days have been quite pathetic and quite shameful. But it speaks to the obvious conditions that Nigerians believe and have raised the alarm and have been ringing the bell about, that they are actually living in. There is multidimensional poverty in the land, and that hunger is, sweeping across the land like a very wicked flood. Well, there is no excuse for any form of actions like this, but we need to take a look at it and give it proper explanations. Now, the president has made a clarion call for the academia to contribute to solving the problems of the country through research. And there is no better arm of the academia, better than the sociological arm and the economists to give us the solutions. Now, from the sociological angle, which is my first training by my first degree, one of the ways we can explain what is happening in the country is looking or using the strain theory. A lot of Nigerians are actually living in strain right now because they discovered that the culturally set goals and the physiologically set goals that they are supposed to achieve are no longer achievable through, the legal means. And so the best that they can do now is to resort to anomie and chaos to be able to survive the basic goal for every individual, which is to survive. So I sympathize with them, but I do not empathize with the situation. And I do not think that we have resorted to the best way to get out of this. And that brings us back to setting the spotlight on government and to join our heads together and hands together to see how we can stop this from becoming a contagious problem that will spread across the nook and crannies of the different states of the Federation. I hope that the government will be quick to act and arrest this case and nip it in the bud.
And hear me. Does the looting, does this justify the stealing of commonwealths? The Minister of State for the FCT has described it as a crime beyond hunger. Do you agree with her that people doing this should face some sort of punishment because the food was supposed to go round and not for a few?
Oh, yes. I mean, by the dictates of the law, yes. If people are caught, they should actually be punished and maybe made to face the wrath of the law. But don't forget that this is a natural law and it's a law of hunger. People are hungry, and if foods are kept in places where people feel they are being deprived of getting, like I've said, they would resort to rebellious means to be able to achieve their goals of actually staying alive. So I think I want to beg to disagree with the Honorable Minister. I think, for better want of expression, this is shouldn't be described as a crime per se, but these are just acts of rebellion, which I think could have been avoided if actions were taken ab initio to ensure that, coming back to the economists now, that there is allocative efficiency. One of the reasons why we're finding ourselves in this situation is that the resources that are available, the commonwealth that is available, like you said, she rightly described in her submission, are not efficiently distributed across Nigerians. So there is no Pareto optimality, there's no Pareto improvement. And when these things happen, people resort to anomie, to chaos. People resort to deviance to be able to keep themselves alive. So we should look for alternative explanations. We should evoke the doctrine of alternatives and see how we can stop this from happening in the future. And like I've said before, a rebellion can be contagious. It spreads easily. So how do we nip this in the bud and ensure that it doesn't go beyond where it has happened in different states has happened and start spreading to other states of the Federation, and then picks up as a social movement that causes massive disruption of the social order, of the moral order, and then a breakdown of society and a complete tearing down of the moral fabric of our society. These are the dangers ahead of us, and these are the things we must quickly pay attention to.
Ed, for speaking with us.
Thanks for having me on.
You're watching Tonight. Coming up, over 20 million children are out of school in Nigeria. Why is this? We have details after this short break. Education cannot wait. A global fund for education in emergencies of the United Nations has raised concerns over the increasing number of out-of-school children in Africa. This was during a discussion where the executive director of the group called on the international community to support efforts that will take the children back to school. News Centre's Umaru Kirawa completes the report.
There are millions of children across the African continent who are not attending school or receiving any form of formal education. In Nigeria, the situation is even more dire, with approximately 20 million out-of-school children. This is largely due to various reasons such as conflict, poverty, and lack of access to quality education.
9 out of 10 school-age children in sub-Saharan Africa cannot read a simple text. How is this possible in the 21st century? Why did this happen? It can be changed, but we got to have a greater equity and sharing of resources to allow the African continent to really make sense of 2024 as the year of education for Africa.
While many states across northern Nigeria are trying to rebuild schools, employ teachers, and domesticate the Child Right Act, which guarantees every child the opportunity to learn and thrive, most often it lacks practical footings.
15 million teachers are required in order to provide primary and secondary education to children to reach all sustainable human development goals by 2030, education being the 4th sustainable development goal 4, and also a foundational goal to achieve all other sustainable human development goals.
Without urgent intervention, the future of millions of children and the country as a whole is said to be at risk.
So far we invested 20 million, and we are entering a second phase, and we are appealing to the world to help contribute.
The message here is that It is better late than never, and no effort is too little, as the responsibility of ensuring that the country's future leaders are educated cannot be left in the hands of government alone. It is also agreed that the time to make the efforts is now, as the future of the younger generation is at stake. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
The world is constantly changing, and technology is at the forefront of these changes. In Nigeria, the tech industry has experienced a significant boom in recent years, and this trend is set to continue. Codevo is the biggest international fest hosted annually, where participants make innovative projects with hands-on learning using pictorial blocks to make the world a better place. News Center's Bettina Uweli reports.
Support and infrastructure, the Nigerian tech industry has the potential to become a major player in the global market. Codevo 5.0 International inspires participants to engage in interactive activities through learn by doing and doubt-solving sessions. It is promoting the development of critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and communication, the 4 C's of the 21st century skills.
The Codevo Championship is our opportunity to showcase the Nigerian young innovators, in the aspect of coding, robotics, and artificial intelligence. It's the first of its kind in Nigeria, and it is our opportunity to showcase our students who are competing with one another to represent Nigeria at the International Championship, Dubai.
The most significant part of it is to see young talents exhibiting a lot of complex projects that during our own time we couldn't have imagined anything like this. So it's so amazing to see young people providing solution to some fundamental societal challenges.
The competition is aligned with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, fostering a purpose-driven environment where the participants can channel their AI and coding skills towards solving real-world problems and unleash their potential to do innovative projects for a sustainable future.
Well, I'm not that really good, but because of this competition, I'm now well attentive in coding classes. My passion for coding is becoming stronger.
What I gain from this competition is how we can use code to help the world, benefit the world generally. Since our project centers on save the environment, we are going to use that program in order to make the environment more healthy and suitable for people to live. I learned more skills in the aspect of coding and also learned problem solution.
The future of tech in Nigeria is bright, with many opportunities for entrepreneurs and investors. While the Nigerian government has taken steps to support the growth of the tech industry, more can still be done. It is hoped that the government can provide more funding and create policies that promote the growth of the tech industry in Nigeria. In Lagos, for News Central, Bettina Nwili.
To health matters now, and one of our top stories tonight, the Adamawa state government has confirmed the outbreak of Lassa fever as 1 core member tested positive while 4 were negative. Briefing journalists in Yola, the Adamawa state capital, the Commissioner for Health, Felix Tangwami, says government is taking measures to curtail the menace before it escalates. Tangwami called on the general public to be conscious of their environment while appealing to them to report any suspicious person.
To note that the index case was admitted on the 22nd February 2024 and after presenting symptoms suspected to have been infected by Lassa fever.
Still ahead, Uganda warlord's case continues in his absence. Details after the break. Judges at the International Criminal Court, ICC, have ruled that prosecutors can bring a hearing on charges against the fugitive Ugandan warlord despite his absence. Joseph Kony, was the leader of the notorious Lord's Resistance Army, LRA, which abducted thousands of children to use as soldiers or sex slaves. He is accused of brutalizing civilians in northern Uganda through murder, abduction, mutilation, and the burning of property, a total of 33 counts of war crimes and crimes against humanity. Kony formed the LRA in Uganda over 2 decades ago and claimed to be fighting to install a government based on the Bible's 10 Commandments. The arrest warrant for Kony was issued in 2005, but he has evaded capture. Somalia has become a full member of the East African Community after completing all the steps required to gain complete membership of the regional bloc. The EAC Secretariat on Monday shared on X that Somalia has gained full membership after depositing her instrument of ratification with the Secretary General of the bloc. Last November, the heads of state of the other EAC member states agreed to admit Somalia into the bloc. Somalia becomes the 8th member of the EAC after Burundi, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Kenya, South Sudan, Tanzania, Rwanda, and Uganda. The move is intended to boost economic growth in a country which is still recovering from 3 decades of war. We can now tell you that South African health officials in the KwaZulu-Natal province have issued an alert over the outbreak of pink eye disease and called on people who suspect they have the infection to seek treatment. According to an official in charge of health, Nomagugu Simelani, at least 161 cases of the infection have been confirmed in various parts. The United States has imposed sanctions on Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa and other senior leaders, denouncing what it said was a campaign of rights abuses and corruption. The sanctions, which will block any U.S.-based property and block any unofficial travel to the United States, replace a broader 2-decade-old sanction program against Zimbabwe. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said the new measures were part of a stronger, more targeted sanction policy on Zimbabwe. Multiple cases of abduction, physical abuse, and unlawful killing have left citizens living in fear. Mnangagwa is the second consecutive Zimbabwean leader to face U.S. sanctions following veteran President Robert Mugabe. Up next is business news.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
On Business Tonight, the Central Bank of Nigeria has called on Nigerians to share their opinions regarding the decisions made during its 293rd Monetary Policy Committee meeting. The request, made via the official CBN X handle, encourages the public to participate in a survey to provide feedback on the outcomes of the recent meeting. This MPC meeting marked the first since the appointment of Olayemi Cardoso as the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, reflecting a commitment to transparency and public engagement in the country's monetary policy decisions. Staying with Africa's largest economy, Francis Meshioye, president of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, has called on the government to provide greater support to the alien manufacturing sector. Speaking at the 8th edition of the Man Reporter of the Year Award, Meshioye stressed the need for intentional efforts to boost the manufacturing sector, emphasizing its pivotal role in national development. He urged the government to refrain from implementing harmful and inconsiderate policies that negatively impact manufacturers. Meshioye criticized recent policies by the Lagos State government and the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, attributing them to job losses in the sector. Ghana's finance ministry raised alarms about potential consequences should President Nana Akufo-Addo endorse the recently approved anti-LGBTQ bill. In a 5-page document, the ministry detailed adverse effects on expenditures, government initiatives, and projects highlighting a potential loss of $850 million in World Bank budgetary support. The outlined risks encompass a $600 million reduction in budget support and a $250 million decrease for the Financial Stability Fund in 2024 alone. Urging the president to postpone signing, the ministry stressed the impact on foreign exchange reserves and exchange rate stability, aligning with earlier U.S. warnings of economic repercussions. And now in the southern part of the continent, South Africa is set to raise fuel prices in response to surging global oil price and a weakened rand currency. The adjustments, effective from March 6, 2024, are attributed to various factors, including production cuts by the OPEC Plus oil cartel, disruptions in North American weather, and concerns about shipping costs in the Red Sea. The Department of Mineral Resources and Energy highlighted the impact of these market realities in South Africa, which imports all its crude oil and refined fuels, making it susceptible to fluctuations in global prices. The announcement was made by the Minister, Gwede Mantashe. And that's all on business news for tonight. Do stay with us. The stories will continue in a bit. I am Lekon Onabanjo.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
Up next is sports with Babatunde Koiki.
Hello, it's time for sports. Nigeria's teenage sensation Matthew Kuti has been eliminated from the men's table tennis singles event at the 13th Africa Games after losing to Algeria's Mahieddine Bella in the second round. The reigning national youth champion had won the first set to take a 1-0 lead, but the older and more experienced Bella fought back to win the next 3 sets for a 3-1 victory and progressed to the third round. It was Kuti's first ever appearance on the continental stage, and he becomes the first Nigerian to bow out of the men's singles event. Just 12 years old, Kuti came to national attention last year after claiming 2 national titles under 24 hours, winning the maiden Daniel Ford Youth Championship as well as the one-day Renewed Hope Top 20 Invitational Challenge in December. Still staying with the African Games now, and Kehinde and Taiwo Aremu are set to make history for Nigeria as they will become the first pair of twins to represent Nigeria at the 13th Africa Games in Accra, Ghana, scheduled for the 8th to the 23rd of March. The Aremu twins will be competing in 2 different categories of the judo competition at the Africa Games. Kehinde will compete in the 66-kilogram category, while Taiwo will compete in the 73-kilogram category. The twins will be among the 5 men and women who will be representing Nigeria's judo team aiming to win medals at the African Games. To football now, and head coach Ladan Boso has unveiled his 20-man under-20 national team squad for the men's football event at the 13th Africa Games taking place in Ghana. Nigeria will contend with Uganda, South Sudan, Senegal and Tunisia in Group B of the men's football event starting on Thursday, with the Nigerian squad scheduled to depart from Abuja on Tuesday. Matches will take place at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium in Legon. Ghana, Congo, Benin Republic, and the Gambia are the teams in Group A, with the Accra Sports Stadium as venue. Nigeria finished runners-up of the men's football event of the 12th Africa Games held in Rabat, Morocco, losing 2-0 to Burkina Faso in the final, and Nigeria has not won the men's football event since 1973. To boxing now, and former unified heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua and former UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou have both arrived in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia ahead of their monumental heavyweight bout in Riyadh on Friday. Joshua is currently on a 3-fight winning streak and building back towards being in world title contention. He has vowed to make a statement and deliver a knockout victory over his opponent. On his part, Ngannou impressed the boxing community after knocking down WBC champion Tyson Fury with a left hook during the 3rd round of his split decision defeat in only his first professional boxing bout. Ngannou's move into boxing came after he won 17 and lost just 3 of his 20 MMA bouts, with the 37-year-old the reigning heavyweight champion when he departed the UFC. The Cameroonian has also promised to knock out Joshua. And that's all we have on sports. It's back to you, Felicity.
Sports Update, brought to you by Corn Oil. Corn Oil, we go the extra mile.
As we eagerly await Justin Timberlake's new album, Everything I Thought It Was, one thing has got everybody buzzing: his team up with his old NSYNC pals on the song Paradise. Now, it is their second song together in many years, and fans are thrilled. The album drops on March 15th, and Paradise is already sparking a lot of excitement. Keep an eye out for more updates on this big reunion. Now, moving on away from that, after introducing 4 male artists over 5 years, Johnson World is making a historic move by signing its first female artist, Bagetti. Even before her official debut, Bagetti's name and music have created a buzz in the industry. Renowned DJs like DJ Nana and DJ Dope Caesar have already featured her tracks, building anticipation for her upcoming debut single, Hard Girl, set to release on March 5th. And that's all we can take on entertainment tonight. But when we're back, I'll bring you the updates on what's trending. Thank you.
Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited.
Thank you for staying with us. Now, moving on from entertainment stories. Trending today across social media platforms is Day Day. On Sunday, individuals residing in the Federal Capital Territory seized items from the Agricultural and Rural Development Secretariats, attributing their actions to the economic challenges stemming from the policies of the current administration. Now, some ex-Nigerian users seem to be in agreement with these actions of the hungry citizens. Here's what some of them had to say. Another looting of truck, this time around in Dede, Abuja. While it is a condemnable and criminal offense, the government of the day also shares some blames for making living hard for the masses. President Bola Tinubu's administration continues to turn a blind eye as hungry Nigerian citizens persist in blocking and looting trucks transporting foodstuff. Ignoring this issue may eventually bring it to your doorstep. Don't say you weren't told. You know, we also took to the streets of Lagos to gather opinions on the incident. Let's watch that.
I have a farm in Ogun State, and I can't farm because of insecurity. You have Fulani headsmen and the rest coming to attack my farms, and I can't do anything about it. Make me be able to access anchor borrowers loan, for instance, and a lot of other things. So we are not saying that you should put food on our table. We are only saying that make the means to produce food for ourselves very available.
Government should face on the project on how to better the lives of citizens of Nigeria.
That's sad. I really hope that the voices of our citizens are amplified and gets to the right ears. Anyways, that's all for tonight on What's Trending. But you can join the conversation and share your thoughts across our social media platforms. We are at News Central TV. I am Jadel Simon.
Thank you, Jadel. And that's all tonight. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. Federal government to begin distribution of grains amid economic hardship. NEMA has tightened security around warehouses nationwide after Abuja looting. Adamawa government has confirmed Lassa fever outbreak in the state. We also brought you news that the U.S. has slammed sanctions on Zimbabwe's president and other officials. Do send your eyewitness reports to the number showing now on your screen. You can follow us on social media at News Central TV. We're live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and on YouTube. Many thanks as always for your time. Have a good night.